tool, and a very useful tool, so that we understand, you know, our world about us. But in order to navigate and to use intelligence and awaken that intelligence in our world, and we need to use our full spectrum of our consciousness, which is connected to everything else. And so this is where the shift is. And so I think, you know, the Mayans back then, you know, they were, you know, ancient people, you know, very tribal, you know, they were excellent with the timekeeping, and they probably got it from ETs, or, you know, other civilizations, probably otherworldly civilizations. They really knew a lot about the stars and all that. But it doesn't mean the world is coming to an end. Just the world possibly as we know it, which really we don't have to be a genius to predict it's all coming to an end as far as the way things were working before, because they're not working anymore. And a lot of people are waking up to that when they find out that, you know, they no longer have a job, they're losing their house, you know, their Social Security or their investments are, you know, diminishing, and what to do now, because everything they invested in their whole life is not fruitful for them. It actually fell through on them, and now what to do now. And so this is where the Mayan calendar is just a benchmark to help you understand your place in the world, and now what do we do about it. And so I think what we do about it now is we prepare ourselves to understand these, to recognize, to be certain to recognize patterns. And that's the thing that gives you peace. When you have some certainty about the world around you, and you have no certainty about things of the stock market and, you know, the monetary system, because that's pretty much so complicated that even the experts don't even know what they're talking about. And if they do, it's not to benefit us. So certainty about your world around you means the things in your own life that bring you pleasure and joy, the simple things, not the things that you have to work harder for to attain that are slipping away from you. And so you might recognize what the Mayan calendar does. It helps you recognize the patterns in life, how consciousness evolves, how things work in our body, in our minds. And with that, you awaken your intelligence, and you start to say, okay, I have a choice now. I can make a better choice, where before I couldn't make any good choices. I was just reacting and responding. You know, instead of responding, I'm reacting to one crisis after another. Now I'm responding with insight and peace and calm and certainty that I have power that I can tap into. And that power is shifting the way I think about things. And that tool of my mind is very helpful in that, because I can visualize different thoughts that will bring me to another place, because we are co-creating our universe all the time, and it's the law of attraction. So, and whatever you focus on is what you're going to receive. So let's focus on things that are positive, that this new shift is going to bring to us. And I just see in my own life that, you know, I have a choice. There's a crossroads. I can look negative at it, and I can look positive at it. But if I have a choice and it's my power, I don't care if the whole world is thinking negative. I'm going to think positive, because that's the only power I have. That's the only tool that I have to move and navigate through what might seem a dark and difficult road that ahead of me. And then all of a sudden, it's sort of like a light shines, and you begin to see things that you didn't even know were there. And people will appear and on your path that will be very useful and helpful, and you will begin to grow and develop a new way of seeing, a new way of being, a new way of adjusting to all these changes that will bring you in accord and peace and harmony. Definitely, with the universe.
Because the fear is really keeping people enslaved. Because when you're captivated by fear, and you know you're living in fear, thinking in fear, fear-based emotions, that's when, you know, all this negative stuff continues coming at you. You're vibrating on a totally different frequency, and you're just trapped in that fear state. that's where the world or the universe is going to continue giving you what you don't like. Like, you know, so it's very important to stay focused on the positive and be in a uplifting mode, because then, as you just mentioned, things just automatically appear like synchronicity, and you just get where you need to go, and everything just works out based upon your own thought and the energy moving through those thoughts.
And you will feel that energy because, like you said, Justin, in the past, something will feel right. It just resonates, and you might not have any idea of the outcome, you know, the details of how it's going to happen, but there's this feeling, this overwhelming feeling that comes over you that this feels good. It's in your gut feeling, and you're going to go with that. Your mind might say, well, wait a minute, you know, you think about it, you're crazy, or, you know, try to throw in a lot of thoughts of confusion because it doesn't understand. The mind is not going to understand unless we teach it to understand. And so here we're talking about ourselves as not being the mind, but as something that we have a resource to tap into so we experience life on this planet. Very much like a computer, you know, there's the hard drive and, you know, how you navigate through the computer. If you understand that those thoughts are not really even your own thoughts, it's the collective thoughts, the mental construction of all the thoughts that are bouncing all around this universe. And up until this point, they haven't been very positive. And that's why sometimes when you're trying to work with positive affirmations, they don't work because you really don't believe them, because you're being bombarded with so many negative affirmations, so much negative signs and symbols all around you. So you might be pumping all that positive affirmation every morning, you know, giving yourself that little boost, but it doesn't stick and it's not working because it's not coming from inside out. It's coming from outside in. Although you use the outside as well, you have to draw from inside yourself. So this is what we're applying. All these things that we know now, it's so exciting because we're at a time now where consciousness, it's not going to fail. The deck is stacked against the mind. The mind is definitely going to take its place because consciousness is the creation of everything. It's the wholeness of it. It's not just us. It's the trees, it's the air, it's the, you know, it's the water, it's the everything. It's every little cell, molecule, and everything. It's all part of the consciousness. So the mind thinks it's the most powerful thing, and because of the ego, you know, it feels like it's the existence, but it isn't. It's just the illusion of the existence of who you are. But it is also a good tool to use into moving into this new state of consciousness, because then you can have the full experience of the awareness of all the things and the resources that we have in front of us, ahead of us. So what I see is like there's still going to be, you know, a lot of third density, third dimension chaos and confusion. I mean, you know, no matter what, you know, that's going on, and there's always going to be those that are bent on, you know, following through whatever the deed, whatever their plan is, and so be it, you know. But let's just put that aside and say, okay, we know that, and we have knowledge of that, so we're not going to fall into that trap, because the knowledge is the power. But we're also going to not focus on that. We're going to focus on the better world that we see, that we have available to us, because we are co-creating this world with the divine, with the higher intelligence that is within each and every one of us. And if we hold on to that, here's the resources that we have to shift that consciousness. And critical mass, if enough people are doing this, it'll automatically shift. And then it's almost like the Earth, third density, will still be here, but this birthing of this fourth density, which is here, will help us transcend into that. And however it works, it'll be ascension. We were talking about this yesterday.